Looks like it's going to rain.
It does look like it's going to rain.
Yeah, I wanted to check the radar, but I didn't get to do it.
All right.
It poured here yesterday.
Yeah, I've been kind of keeping an eye on the weather myself because a buddy of mine, I try to shoot at least one of my days off. Right now, the position I'm in as far as work goes, I have the weekends off. So I try to shoot one day and do something else the other day.
Yep.
And
Did I get you by anything?
I'm good. I still got my water.
Karen, you good?
I'm good, thank you.
And it's just like, I actually texted him this morning. I said, it looks like tomorrow, if we go south and east, like in New Jersey, there's a place I shoot at in Jersey. It looks like we got a very small window to shoot, but if we go north to one of the other clubs up in Pennsylvania, he's like, I don't want to drive an hour and 40 minutes and then it rain on us and not be able to shoot. So I said, I'll keep tracking the weather overnight.
Yeah. And that's clay, right?
Yeah, clay
yeah. There's some kind of range around here that I've always wanted to go and we just haven't, because leading up to dove season, that would be really helpful for me because I'm horrible at that. And I think
if you want, and when Jeff gets back, you want to talk about you because you're relatively new, right? Shooting?
Very new.
So I mean, I'd be glad to look at you and your gun, give you whatever pointers that I can give you to help you. So
thank you. Yeah. I need all the help I can get.
All right, I am back and salute.
Cheers.
Salute.
You had to get it?
I had to. Just had
Do you
to.
want a beer or anything?
No, actually, I'm a water, lemonade, iced tea guy.
And I have iced tea too.
She did make tea, so.
Yep. I didn't have any artificial. Just have the real sugar stuff.
That's the best kind.
Yeah, it is. Are we on?
I am. I wrote stuff down wrong, so.
Oh.
Excuse me, I'm going to turn my mic down just a little bit. There we go. Steven.
Yes, sir.
Biello.
Yep.
There we go.
He said it right.
He's got it right.
I do. Thank you. And Karen doesn't believe me, but being dyslexic, these are the problems. When someone's dyslexic, they have issues, especially with Italian last names. Nick. How do we say Nick's last name?
I forgot already.
Oh, come on.
Castigliano.
Castigliano.
Yes.
I've called Nick Castellano forever.
Sorry, Nick.
Why didn't you ever correct me? So,
I have a friend of mine, his last name is Nota Francesco.
Oh, geez.
15 letters in his last name.
I would butcher that.
We just call him Notes. It's easier.
Yeah.
Well, Stephen, thank you for taking the evidently what turned out to be a long drive.
Yeah, a little bit longer than I thought, but I'm here.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'll let you. I'm going to let you talk about where you're from, and then I'm going to. There's actually a really good story in here with Karen also, but please tell us about yourself. Where you're from?
Okay, I'm from Philadelphia. I live in Philadelphia. I do everything else outside of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. So, down at Molly's a lot on the Eastern Shore, whether I'm shooting sporting clays or hunting down there with a couple different people I've met over the years. I hunt Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware. I drove out to North Dakota last year to do 2 years ago now, to do some hunting, that kind of stuff. So, I'm a country boy that lives in the city, and I don't know how that happened.
On Broad Street.
On Broad Street, yes.
On Broad Street. Is the Mushula still there?
The Mushalu's still there.
What is that?
Oh, what is the Mushula?
The Mushalu is a big old sailing ship that is now a restaurant.
Oh.
So, and that's a few blocks. Well, it's about a mile plus away from me. It's on Delaware Avenue, right in the Delaware River.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Is it still called Penn's Landing?
Still Penn's Landing.
There's a casino there too, right?
There's Live Casino, which is within walking distance of my house.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
I do think that I think it's across the way in Camden. It's changed names, but we saw Chicken Fried. Zach Brown Band? Yeah, and it was I think it was the BB&T Center. But I think that's right across.
Yeah,
but it's right on the water, but on the Jersey
I haven't had. That's over by the Camden Aquarium.
Okay.
And I haven't really heard a whole lot, but I'm not fine tuned into that world anymore.
Right.
So, but yeah, there was a lot of good events down there over the years.
Yeah.
So,
here's I am talking slower today. I've really tried to work on that, but I still am all over the place. You were pretty close to the 95 overpass that collapsed.
I actually drove over yesterday.
So they've got it fixed.
They got it fixed.
Oh, wow.
I had to go up to qualify for my yearly qualification for the police department.
Right.
And I'm vexed as to how I'm going to get up there using another road besides 95. Super easy 95. I'm a mile away from the 95 entrance where I live. Just get on 95 north, and away I go. And next thing I know, I'm checking my phone, and I had to be there for 4 o'clock. I'm always early, except trying to get down to you guys.
You're fine. It was fine.
So, and
It's not a problem.
next thing I know, they're driving a fire truck over it with the Philly Fanatic and Gritty from the Flyers and the Sixers mascot, and I'm like, it's open. So
Nice.
that's the way I went, and it was open. It was smooth. It was a smooth transition. Coming home was a little bit of. It's interesting because that's the exit right where they built that at, where I get off to go towards the police academy.
Okay.
So coming home, it's now just one solid wall. So they have to figure out how they're going to. They said they're going to work from the outside in and recreate that tunnel
Okay.
for the
Oh,
streets
gosh.
underneath.
I saw recently, wasn't that long ago, I saw a aerial, like a drone shot that they were kind of still cleaning it up, but they were working fast on it, but cleaning it up. So that was kind of on my radar when you said Broad Street. I geographically, I thought you were halfway close to them.
Yeah, it's not really that far. I mean, so it's almost a daily run. I get off to go to work an exit or two right before that, but to go up to the police academy, we have the way our academy is broken down. We have a training center, which is where the new cadets go, and we do our continuing education classes at, and then we have the range, which is actually the old academy, the academy building that I went to. But they kept that for the range, and they got a couple other units in there now. Our highway patrol unit, our special weapons and tactics unit is in there. I think K9 and the bomb squad are in there.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I zipped up there last night, and then coming home was a breeze. It was nothing. And so.
You said 95. I'm so old. 95 northbound, it stopped just above Widener College, and you had to get off 95. And then I can remember it went a little bit further on up to like, I can't remember. It was just like south of the airport. Like,
Yeah.
So
you had to get on 291 and go all through.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then get back. Hit 611, which is Broad Street, and then you could pick different stuff up again. I'm like, when are they going to
But I
connect?
So 95 was not continuous
Nope.
that long ago.
I'm just old. Well, it's the same thing going southbound into Baltimore, like at Eastern Avenue. Like there was no Fort McHenry Tunnel. Like you got off and you went through the old Harbor Tunnel, but basically 95 stopped. Going southbound, you got on 695, went through the Harbor Tunnel. But the true 95 south and north, 95 south stopped at Eastern Avenue.
Okay.
And it was the same kind of thing, like south of the city, somewhere like where 295. Anyway, somewhere at the Beltway there, where Karen, there's a huge spider behind you. I'm not joking.
Not
That's
on
it.
me,
No,
right?
he's
No,
about to
no,
come
that's
down.
that's what's it?
Would you start with
It's a
the
daddy
huge
long
spider?
legs.
That's not that big.
Well, you maybe take the last one off.
Well, I'm not into touching them, but it's not that big.
I'm telling you, earlier when this mulch was going to be, I thought it was going to be a great idea. First, from the price point, it was a good idea. But like they said, playground. I was thinking like chips, not. Anyway, it's a mess. We have our little Milwaukee blower that we like to use. And this morning, over in that corner, there was a big. When I say big, I don't know. I bet you it was 2 inches in diameter.
Oh.
Black as can be, and I think it had white eggs it was carrying around with it too. But anyway, I'm sorry.
You don't mess with her.
Yeah.
I don't like spiders.
All right, Stephen, Philadelphia Police Department. Please tell us. You said-
In my 30, going into year 34, starting in
Wow.
August.
wow.
So
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I'm currently a lieutenant. I work with the Special Victims Unit, and I kind of oversee I do oversee the child abuse section. So it's not
gosh.
pleasant work.
Yeah.
But somebody has to do it.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. That's the same thing. A friend of ours,
Worcester County deputy.
Yeah, he just is starting to do more work there, and he said, not everyone wants to do it, but he's actually kind of good at it because he talks to kids really
Right.
well.
Yeah, we have right now. I have 9 investigators that work for me, both police officers and detectives. They're really good people. They're hardworking. The amount of cases we get in, we work hand in hand with our Department of Human Services, and they send in literally thousands of jobs a year that have to be vetted, reviewed, and myself and the sergeant do that, and then we pass them on to the investigators to follow up on and do the investigation, and it still adds up to thousands of jobs a year. So it's a needed service, sadly.
Yeah,
So-
the kids need people to watch over them. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's when you see the jobs come in. I had somebody yell at me one time because I called his case a job, but for us in the police world,
Sure.
it's lingo, it's a job, and the investigations come in. You don't realize that it's so prevalent and there's so many. So,
Sad.
Again, sad. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Karen loves handguns. Can we ask what you carry or what your favorite handgun would be?
I carry, for work, I carry a Glock 17, 9mm. When I started the department, I carried a Smith Smith & Wesson Model 65 337, but we had to carry 38s. They actually gave us 38 plus Ps. They worried about over penetration with the 337 mags. I like all kinds of handguns. I just bought back in April and finally got to shoot it last weekend, a Walther 22 mag. And what a sweet shooting gun! That loud, a lot of bark, but no bite. So I had my son and a friend of his shooting last week with it, and just loved the grip on it. So, but I have them all. I have from 22 mag 22s up to 44 mags.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. So I need to restart. I'm going to restart and say, since two of us, not me, but two of the three of us have Molly shirts on. Steven, this Pitboss podcast is brought to you by our very good friends at Molly's Place Sporting Goods, easily found on Route 213 in Kennedyville, Maryland. MyMolly's.com is where you can fuel your adventure. You go there a lot, right?
Yep. Last time I was there, David was nice enough to sell me a $2,700 sporting clay gun. So,
David was very helpful.
You're referring to David from Molly's.
David from Molly's.
That's how he likes to be referred to. So David from Molly's, thinking of you, we are.
That's a good guy.
Next up, Dirty Duck Coffee. What did we go with this morning, love? You said it was new, and I never bothered to look. You told me it was
it's a medium roast.
It was good?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, it was good. You did good.
Yeah.
Still some news there we can't talk about, right?
Right, not yet.
Not yet. Getting closer, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's getting close to July 1st.
Okay.
Means
Very
it'll be an official summertime.
Nice.
If it's not already. It's a humid one today.
It is humid.
Thankfully, the two fans are keeping me halfway cool. Buck and Jay, Dirty Duck Coffee. Guys, thank you very much. DirtyDuckCoffee.com. Who should we go with next? Our very good friend Steve Hoover at Duck Water Boats. All the way out from us in New Philadelphia, Ohio. Steve, thank you very much. DuckWaterBoats.com. Love, we own what? We own what? I'll say it again.
We do this stuff.
Come on.
The world's largest?
There you go.
All right.
There you go. We're still talking about Duckwater Boats.
Okay, I thought you were moving on. I'm like, well,
Hey, I had somebody ask me the other day,
me.
what motor do we have on that? Just so everybody knows.
Suzuki.
What size?
350.
And what's unique about it?
The Duo Prop.
There you go. I'm proud of you. I'm very proud
Phew,
of you.
man, he tested me.
Steve Hoover, thank you very much. Next up, we did not use it today.
What's that?
We didn't use it today for breakfast.
No, we didn't.
But
because I had to go walk and burn off all the other times I've had it.
But I found a really good recipe that I think is going to go. It's going to be more than just biscuits.
Okay.
We're going to add some protein to it. I think it's going to work to it, and we're going to have to do a test run, a little R&D to see if it works. But
okay. More R&D calories.
We're going to need to thank John Paul and Jay from Duck Blind Bistro.
Yep.
Took me being dyslexic. I had trouble with that bistro part, didn't I?
God, someone please help us and just nip this whole dyslexic thing in the bud.
maybe it's the O's at the end.
Could be, very well could be. And lastly, but not least, Steven, you frequent this sponsor also. At the corners of Route, he's looking for. He's. I'm going to give him help.
Okay.
At the corners of Route 589 and Route 50.
Crabs to go.
There you
Yes.
go. See. Mark, John, Dan, guys, thank you very much. We've I guess there's a little price savings in it, but we keep looking for. We want to get cold crabs.
Yes, we want to get the cold crab special.
Yeah, the hot steam crabs is what everybody always talks about, but actually we like to get them. They're a few dollars cheaper, but we like them cold. And I even told you the other day we should just get some steam crabs, throw them day before, get them hot, throw them in the refrigerator, and enjoy them the next day. But they they pick better. I don't know that they taste any better, but they definitely pick much better, in my opinion. So
Yeah, very tasty.
crabs to go, guys, at the corner of Routes 589 and Route 50. Crabstogo.com, guys.
Little
thank
Red
you very
Hut.
much. It is. I remember when it was just this is their 30th year.
Wow.
But so I wasn't there in the beginning, but about 1996, 97, I remember that it was basically just like a carry-out stand. It wasn't much bigger. All they did truly was just steam crabs. Maybe had some other things in there, but I remember them just steaming crabs.
Coming from Philly, do you like steamed crabs?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, we're a very big crab family in my house.
Okay.
Just want to, not that I'm going to throw an extra plug, but a friend of mine that I worked with, we were talking about this. And
I'm going to stop you for a second. For those who are not watching on YouTube, you are holding up what I'm going to assume inside is a Crabs to Go gift card.
You got it.
There you go.
So,
Nice.
And we were talking, and coincidentally, he said to me, I'm going down to Maryland. I'm going to get some crabs. I'm going to spend a couple days in Maryland. I said, Maryland, when you headed? I was down Route 50 going towards Ocean City. There's a place I stopped at. And I went, is it Crabs to Go? And he goes, and I'm start talking because he wasn't exactly sure. And I said, Red. That's the place. That's the place. So when he came home, I have no idea how much it is, but
Awesome.
It's a Crabs to Go gift card.
Very cool.
I know the envelope, and I assume there was a gift card inside.
Yeah.
So
It's,
good for you.
Because of you, Jeff, actually. That's the reason I found it. And I made a special trip. I will travel for food.
it's a good place, man. I thought about this morning. I had to go do a quick run and take care of some stuff over that way for my mom and all. She's still over there. And I did think this morning, Karen, about the Breakfast of Champions. We have not done that in quite a while.
Have you tried the single fried oysters?
The first time I went down.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
John on Sunday morning. John would have the fryer ready for us at 9 a.m. and we would get those bad boys.
Yep. It was
Homemade tartars. Well, first off, the oysters are just top notch. Number one.
They are.
Number two, homemade tartar sauce, and number three, John has given us the secret tweak of the cocktail sauce.
It's like Pavlov's dog for me. As soon as you say that, I tell you.
Steven, I've been doing a little reading. Karen even asked me, NSCA Level 2 instructor. Well, first off, I assume NSCA is National Sporting Clay Association?
You got it. Yep.
Okay.
National Sporting Clay Association.
Okay.
So I started shooting shotgun at a very young age. And thanks to my uncle, who's Uncle Vero, he's going to be 90 next month. And
Happy birthday.
thank you. I'll relay it. I'll show him this for sure.
Good.
And I used to shoot trap, used to shoot some skeet, and I was always a bird hunter. And I was at a club, like a pheasant club, and the owner of the club said to me, hey, did you ever try sporting clays? We put a course in. So I shot it, just a hunting gun, and I'm like, this is really cool. He was looking for more use of the property, because once the season ends in most of these clubs in April, they close down, they grow crops, do whatever they do, but they're always looking for more income. So I shot it occasionally there. Talked to my uncle, I hadn't talked to him in a while, and somehow we got on the subject. He goes, oh yeah, I shoot that. I shoot it at this club, You remember old J&P's down?
Yes. Yep.
So J&P's, and so I went with him the first time, at a club in Jersey called Cedar Creek. And I borrowed a shotgun. I didn't even take, he said, I'll bring a gun for you. And I shot relatively well for the first time. It was with his friend Ross, who has since passed away, but I was hooked. So right away I start looking, using some of my older guns, not a specific. You can shoot it with any gun as long as it holds 2 shots and it's safe and functional. But I, of course, wanted a sporting clay gun. So his friend Ross was nice enough to sell one to me, and started going, and a couple of my friends start going. And as we're working along, I'm progressing pretty well. I took a couple of lessons with some big name instructors that we're lucky enough to have in the Jersey, Delaware, Maryland area, and I just really liked it. So now my friends are shooting, and they're starting to, everybody misses, and I'm giving them corrections. And a couple of them said to me, you're really good at that. You should be an instructor. So I looked into it, and as luck would have it, a gentleman that I knew from Lehigh Valley Sporting Clays had purchased his own club a little further north in Pennsylvania, and he was having a level 1 class for an instructor. Took that, passed it. Roughly 2 years, almost to the day later, they offered the level 2 instructing course. I took that, passed that, and I started instructing shortly after I got my level 1 certification. In the meantime, I always like to do something more to build my own education and can pass it on to my clients. So the NRA shotgun course came up. Took that. That was easy compared to the NSCA. Now there's level 3, the NSCA, National Sporting Clay Association. They changed the qualifications, so to speak, for the level 3, and that's which is the highest you can go. And I don't shoot competitively. I just don't have the time nor the money. And one of the stipulations they had put in at the time was you had to be a master class shooter. There's no way with my schedule and what I have at home that I'm going to be a master class shooter. So I kind of put that on the back burner for now. And there's a gentleman out of South Carolina, Dan Schindler. He has a really progressive school, the Paragon School of Sporting. It's a 6-day course, and any of these certifications, you're not guaranteed to pass. Rather, you can fail, and you lose. It's a good chunk of money.
Yeah.
So I took Schindler's course, which is 6 days. It was down in Virginia, the Primland course down in Virginia. We stayed in North Carolina.
Wow.
And passed that. In the meantime, I took a mental management course with an Olympic gold medalist, all that kind of stuff. Worked with another mental course with a master instructor down in Jersey, and just started hanging in the world more and meeting great people like you guys. And it's home. It's where I kind of feel like where I belong.
Nice.
So.
Very cool. So how often do you then do instruction? Like, is it?
In my area, as I mentioned, there's a couple of really high-end, top-notch masterclass shooters who are great instructors. One of them, when I have the money, is my coach, Anthony Matarese down at M&M Sporting Clays. Anthony's literally a world champion. He's won championships in Europe, Italy. He's just a great guy, and he can shoot.
Real chaos.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
That's where they're at now. They closed the course. They closed the course the first week of June down in Ocean City, Maryland, and they're fishing for tuna and tournament fishing.
Okay.
John Prather.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool.
So, John married Anthony's sister.
Oh, wow. Small world.
Amanda. And so, when the economy's good, I have good business. When the economy's hurting, I have spotty business.
Yep.
So, last couple of years with the economy, it's been spotty. I did have a new set of clients a couple weeks ago. So, but yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's for me. I have as much fun getting new shooters into breaking clients, and whether they continue on or not, I hope they do. But once they start breaking targets and breaking them consistently, they're usually hooked.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Stephen, can you please? Because all the time I always think Karen knows exactly what I'm saying. Can you tell her the difference between? Because Karen has shot trap.
Okay.
You've shot trap and PEI.
Okay.
But she has not shot skeet or sporting clays. Can you kind of differentiate for her what the differences are?
So trap, there's one house in the center of 5 shooting stations.
Okay. Yes.
You start off with 26 yards. The trap machine inside that shooting house is usually oscillating.
Okay.
So you don't know as the shooter which direction the target's going to come out.
Okay.
16 yards is the standard. It goes back, I think, to as far as the 26-yard line. Okay, and each shooter will shoot 5 shots at a station, and then they progress across the line until they've until they all shot 5 shots and finish with their box with 25 shells.
Do you recall like remember the concrete, how it kind of came out from the trap house? Yes,
I do remember. Yep, I can relate to that one.
Okay.
So Skeet is basically a half moon.
Okay.
When it first was developed, they used to call it round the clock, but then they realized they were kind of shooting at each other, so they folded the course in half.
Okay.
So you have just picture a half moon with a block in the center.
Okay.
So you have station 1 through station 7,
Wow.
and then station 8. You shoot. There's a high house with station 1,
Okay.
a low house with station 7. You start with shooting a single from station 1, and then a single from the high house, a single from the low house. Then you shoot a report pair. Bang, bang.
Okay.
Do that from station 2, same thing. And as you move across to get to like station 4, you just go into singles. Actually, from station 3 on, you go into singles until you get to station. I haven't shot skeet in a little while. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Until you get like station 6 and 7, then you start shooting a single and a report pair from each.
Okay.
And then when you get to station 8, which is dead center, and the targets are like screaming at you. They're high. You're not going to get hit with them, but you shoot 1 low house and you shoot 1 high house. Now, if you're perfect through that and you've shot 24 straight, then you have to shoot another one. I believe it's your choice, either low house or high house, to finish your 25.
Okay.
A report pair.
Okay. Report pair is bang. And actually, it's ski day. You kind of call it. I'm so used to sporting clays ingrained in my brain. So report pair is the report of the gun. A second target is thrown. A simul pair would be you press one center button or both buttons at the same time. And there's 2 targets in the air at the same time.
Oh gosh.
So
I would miss both probably.
yeah, they're fun.
It's tough.
They're fun. Well, skeet and trap are very, very. You can almost train your brain, memorize the leads. And that's why people shoot 1,000 straight in trap. They'll shoot 500-600 straight in skeet. Sporting clays, now they often refer to sporting clays as golf with a shotgun because there's 17, 18, 20 stations sometimes. And
Time out 1 second there. This is the was that our new best friend?
I don't know.
I think it was.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
The open air studios, that was a little bit loud. It had to be.
Yeah, that
All right.
was loud one.
I'm sorry, Steve.
Okay, no problem. So they call it golf with a shotgun.
Okay.
So it could be 17, 18, 20 stations, as long as it adds up to 100 shots, 100 targets that you're addressing. You can shoot 50. Some clubs shoot, like I just shot down at Pintail back in June, Pintail Point. They have every year, they have a benefit shoot. It's sponsored by the Outback Steakhouse.
Okay.
And it's for childhood cancer.
Okay.
I think it's for John Hopkins. So, and that shoots only 75 targets.
Okay.
So they usually finish up with one station where you're only shooting, instead of 6 birds, 6 targets, they shoot 5 at one.
Okay.
So and they do the math as far as how many at each station.
Okay.
So, but usually it's 6 shots at each station, 3 pair, whether they're going to be report, bang, bang, or SIMO with them both in the air at the same time. So.
And to help Karen understand, trap is a very let's say it's structured.
Yep.
Right? Where the trap house is and where you're going to shoot from. Same thing with skeet.
Exactly.
You have a high house, low house, and again, the concrete is laid out for you where you're going to shoot from. But sporting plays is
When it was designed, sporting clays, it's only been in the United States since the early '80s, which isn't a long time when you think of the shooting games, especially skeet and trap. Again, it was designed in England, and they wanted to use their guns more. So they have strict gun laws over in England. They wanted to use their guns more, so they had all this land on these estates. So they said, we'll design and we'll call it hunter's clays.
Okay.
And when it hit the shores, especially the eastern shore of Maryland, it's one of the hot spots for sporting clays in the United States. George Hopkins and John down at J&P's when he was with us, Schrader's, they can move the trap machine. So you'll have a presentation, they'll call it a springing teal, because the target's going straight up like you just flushed a teal. You'll have a rabbit. They throw targets rolling on the ground.
Oh, wow.
Some places get really creative, and they'll take that rabbit target and they figure out a way to run it across a tree, and they'll call it a squirrel.
Okay.
Other places used to have it going almost away from you, and they would call it like the fleeing fox.
Wow.
That kind of stuff.
so to give you, Karen, the visual is basically each farm, each wherever you're going to go shoot, like it's never the same.
Right.
Like he's saying, like they're going to kind of, the verbiage is the same, but their example of that verbiage could be much different.
Right.
Okay.
Just depending on their terrain, what they have, what's each place is different.
Terrain plays a huge part in it, and terrain will also mess up with your eyes and your visual presentation on the way you address the target, because they'll set a bank up, and the target there'll be plenty of room to break the target, but as it's approaching that bank, it looks like it's falling because it's going across higher ground.
Okay.
So if you're not focused on that target, you're going to rush your shot because you think it's going to hit the ground.
Okay.
And it's just all visual.
Huh.
So
there's actually one, Karen, and it is the rabbit will be a different clay, correct?
yeah.
So it's actually a disc that it actually is going to rolls on the ground like a wheel or a tire. How about, right?
Okay.
Instead of it flying in the air that you have shot at those targets, right? Those clays.
Yep.
But this one, a rabbit or the squirrel, like you said, run across a log, it actually rolls like a tire.
That'd be cool.
You haven't done it. We need to do it.
And they'll throw like a log under the runner. A lot of them get started for a good traction run. They'll use a rubber runner, and right at the end of the runner, they'll put a stick, just a stick or a rock, and next thing you know, that rabbit bounces 10 feet in the air.
Oh, wow.
You're ready to shoot it there, and it's 5-10 feet in the air.
Oh, wow.
Going up.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
So, I mean, this has all of that. I mean, I guess is essentially practice for when, duck season is here. It has to help, right?
Yeah, you could use a lot of it. I had a client, it's years ago now, big money guy. His company would go out, all the boys would go out to Arkansas and do a duck hunt every year. His phone call was to me, we go out to Arkansas every year and do a duck hunt, and I'm tired of being low man in the blind. I can't hit anything. I said, okay. I said, I'm pretty sure I could help you. So we met at a sporting clay course. I think he took 2 lessons off me. Super nice guy. Tweaked just the way he was looking at targets.
Okay.
Just the way and we talk about lead methods. When we hunt, we don't so much think about what lead method I'm going to use, right? There's sustained lead, which you're always in front of the target.
Okay.
There's pull away, where basically you meet the target with your barrel.
Okay.
and you leave it. You pull away from it.
Okay.
There's a modified sustained lead pull away, and a lot of it, and then there's pass through. And most of us as hunters grew up shooting. I grew up with calling it the four. Excuse me, calling it the 4 Bs: butt, belly, beak, bang. So you're grabbing the target from behind. You're passing through butt, belly, beak. As soon as you get to the head, keep moving the gun. Bang, pull the trigger.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
I showed him that. I got a phone call upon his return home. That was fantastic. I went from low man to high man in the blind. I can't thank you enough.
Oh, very
And I'm
cool.
like, okay, I did my job.
Oh, I like that. This little tidbit might help me. I did horribly at PEI last year. Horrible. And I call it maiming. I don't want to maim anything. I want to be able to kill it. I don't want to think that I've injured something and it's sitting out there. It's my veterinary background. So
you shot it in the butt,
yeah.
not in the head.
Yeah, So I need to be better.
Follow through. Just give it a little bit more push. My daughter hunts with me every now and then, and my son as well. And when I told her, we went down, did a Maryland youth hunt.
Yep.
And I said, listen, geese are big. People don't realize the amount of speed they generate with one set of wing flaps. Okay, so when you see that goose coming into the blind, I said, like, start at the base of the neck and just pass through the head and stretch another full length of the base of the neck, from the base of the neck, and pull the trigger.
Okay.
The guide said to me, I should have known it was your daughter because she was dropping birds left and right.
Really?
So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
A lot of it is eyes and your relationship to your mount on the gun. You know your eye dominance. So
Yep.
if you're
He's asking.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
so
right. Yep.
right eye dominant
Yep.
and you're right-handed.
Yes.
Okay. Because
It's like when it comes to fishing with spinning reels.
I heard that conversation.
Don't even go there again.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I heard that. I watched that podcast. So as long as, and a lot of people, and studies have shown, I'm not picking on anybody, but studies have shown more women than men are cross-eyed dominant. Okay. So they're right-handed, but they're left-eye dominant.
Oh, interesting.
So there's a way, to tweak that. If you're dexterous enough, it's best to shoot under the eye that's the dominant eye.
Okay. Yeah,
If not, there's a way to, I don't want to, I'm a very firm believer in shooting with both eyes open.
Okay.
Shotgun. I have to remind myself when I go shoot a handgun, when I go to qualify, I still shoot. I know guys who've trained themselves shoot 2 eyes open with a handgun. I haven't got there yet. I just don't shoot handgun enough. Or like I used to, I should say. So, but for me, both eyes open, and you get all that visual input. Because our eyes are feeding all that physics to the brain, physics and geometry to the brain, and get our hands there to break the targets. People always say hand-eye, it's a hand-eye coordination.
Sure.
I tell my clients it's eye-hands. Your eyes will get you where you need to be to put your hands to break the targets. Or drop the pheasant, duck, goose, whatever we're talking about.
That certainly fits with, totally different topic, but, horse riding, you look where you need to go. Same with, I guess, driving or
exactly.
even golf.
Exactly.
You look where you want it to go. You don't, make sure your head's where it needs to be.
And if you're a pistol shooter, what do you do when you aim a pistol? Well, you aim, but what else do you? What are you looking at real hard?
At the target.
Your sights, right? Sights on the target?
Yeah, I was going to say, I would look at my sights probably more than the target.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because these are prescription, I'm like trying to,
trying
to find.
This is challenging. Yeah.
I'm getting to that stage.
Okay.
I'm in denial.
I'm trying to find where, it takes me, I'm sitting there trying to put the gun's in focus, not the target.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When I have the time at the range, I can go between both, to line it up.
So and pistol shooting, we concentrate on our front sight, right? That sight post. We put that front sight post pretty much where you want it to go. And as long as you're not crazy, especially pulling the trigger or too much finger on the trigger, it's going to go right where you have that front sight at. Might go a little left, might go a little right. Shotgun shooting, your eye is your back sight, and your target, you're just looking at that target. Visual focus on that target means you want to see as much as possible. And specifically, as you're going into pulling the trigger on a game bird or a target, you want to narrow it down to some, we call it laser-like focus. Some like laser, if you could see a ring on the targets, and these young kids today playing these video games, develop that hand-eye coordination. Their eyes are much better than me at 60, going to be 60 soon. They look and they could just, it's amazing what the young guys are doing, young boys and girls, actually.
9mm Karen's much much more accurate than me.
Yeah, the range. There's no stress. There's no pressure there.
Another fact, the studies show women are actually better shots than men. So,
yeah, it's just fun. I
Definitely with the handgun you are.
yeah.
So we have, what is that tail, the hitch slinger thing that we have? What is that?
That would be basically just a clay target thrower.
Okay.
So instead of using a hand thrower,
Right,
it's
the
a
spring
it's a spring thrower.
Got one in my garage.
Yeah, so instead of using like the chuck it, so they make a chuck it more or less. You'd put a target in, you can hand throw it. It's probably where the chuck it came from, honestly.
Yeah.
But yes, the one we have would be mounted to a hitch that you would spring mount it.
Okay.
And they have great purpose, those, either spring machines or the ones you have at home. If you have the room, especially if you're a hunter, and a lot of times your courses, they're busy, even during the week, and they have their set rules because it's all about safety, correct? So, but like a waterfowl hunter, like most of the time, like the guys on your boat, Jeff, they're shooting from a seated position, correct?
Yeah, and I always try to, I won't say preach to them, but I was like, guys, just, you don't have to stand up, but just get your butt off the seat, right?
Yeah.
Because I've actually, anyway, yes, they generally are seated. They are seated. They are sitting on a seat. But I do say, man, get your butts. If you don't feel comfortable standing up, just try to at least get your butt off the seat.
And I know you and I went back and forth when I start following you on Instagram about your shooters. I would say, tell them to give them, and you're telling them, lead it.
Yeah.
But when we shoot shotgun, especially shotgun, it's not arms and shoulders. It really starts in your core. So like if you're shooting like an upland situation or at a sporting clay course, skeet, trap, your move starts from your feet basically and comes up. So if you're on a seat, like I could tell you dove hunting, one of my favorite things to do, I have a seat that swivels now, so that really helps. But if I see a bird come in and I'm creeping to get up off that seat and get my butt up, and I might not just stand up completely, but I'm going to have enough momentum in my body to allow me, engage that bird, follow through, and execute the shot.
Okay.
So,
Well, I can't hit a dove for nothing, but when Karen and I, especially at Oakview Farms dove shoot, when I see one come, that I do, like I'm sitting there just relaxed, we're watching, and here comes one. Like I want to stand up and shoot. Like I'm not going to sit from a seated position.
oh, if I can, I will. I mean, even I've been in duck blinds, A-frames, where they're coming and they're working as much as I can do it before they call a shot. I'm getting ready to just finish standing and then address the bird. You know what I mean? It's just really hard to shoot from a layout blind without practice. So if you can do it somewhere safety with an old spring-loaded machine, or even now the electric machines, but aren't that expensive, and set yourself up in a situation where you can go out with your ground blind or a seat that swivels, a seat that doesn't swivel, and just practice. That whole thing. Practice like you play, right? So that's big.
Those doves, man, they are tough. They're like little torpedoes.
They're I call them sporting clays on the wing. They're
okay.
And they're my favorite. I love to eat them as well.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
delicious.
I have a standing rule that I'm a big animal lover, both live and on the table. But if I'm going to shoot it and take its life, I'm going to eat it. I'm not a trophy buck hunter.
Yeah,
I'm not granted, if there's a trophy buck there, I'm going to shoot it, but also I'm going to eat it. Yeah. So
I feel the same way. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to eat it.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at in my world. I mean, when I was younger, it was a groundhog hunt, and I can understand the guys that do, and nothing against them. It's a skill and a challenge to shoot a prairie dog at 500 yards.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But for me, I used to groundhog hunt when I worked in the restaurant business. I worked with a guy who would eat them. He said, "Can you bring me home a couple of groundhogs?" And I would. I had a neighbor in the old neighborhood who would eat squirrels. So Tony, old man Tony, Steve, can you bring me home a couple squirrels? I don't generally hunt squirrel, but if I know Tony wanted them, I would shoot 2 or 3, clean them up for him, and bring them home.
Yep.
So that kind of stuff.
Uh-oh. You predicted this, Karen.
Yep, I knew the trash
You
truck would
predicted
come by.
this. Except Duke's not out.
Yeah, really. Duke would set it off. Yeah, no, that's... I definitely want to get better, and I think maybe a couple of your pointers might have actually helped. We were members at the local range. We kind of let that slide by just because we're so busy. We don't have time to get there, but we need to find a big field somewhere.
Well, really what we need to do is go down to, when we have not done it, is the Acid Teague sporting place.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. Is
Have you
right
been
outside.
No.
It's in Berlin, like southwest Berlin.
Okay.
We talked about doing it. We just never did it. We have drove out there, saw it. We just never did it.
Yeah, we're gonna make the effort, especially before the season.
Yeah, you could do. I mean, if you could find any high elevated crossing shot to replicate a dove. So.
Yeah. Time out 1 second.
Yeah.
Again,
It's so dangerous.
What's that now?
It's so dangerous.
Hanging
Off the back of the trash truck.
All right, now I think our audio will be better. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but there's targets there that will, on most sporting clay courses, that will definitely help you. And you'll hear that there's an argument out there in the hunting versus target world that, well, pheasant, dove, they can maintain speed and they can speed up when you're shooting at them, whereas a clay target will slow down naturally because it only comes out under so much power from the spring, from the machine. But it's still the same fundamentals. And I can tell you personally, the amount of shotgun shooting that I've done over the years in correlation to the amount of dove I shoot is it's just, I was done in 20 minutes one time on a dove hunt.
Oh, wow. Holy heck.
That was my limit.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
If when they're flying good, you want to go to Argentina?
Oh.
Have you been?
No.
Karen, you want to go to Argentina?
I would love to go to
I want to go anywhere.
Yeah, I would love to go to Argentina.
Where's the best place that you've shot? What's your best hunt?
Dove hunt?
Any hunt?
Any hunt? I've had some, believe it or not, I've had some real good dove hunts in Lower Delaware. My uncle was friends with a gentleman who had a farm down there, and he would set it up just for dove hunting.
Nice.
He would, and it was the cleanest, easiest retrieves you could. He had sunflowers and millet, but primarily we shot over sunflowers. And he would go crazy just with the pesticides to keep the rows clean.
Okay.
And you could just literally walk out and, boom, pick your bird up.
Nice.
I shoot a lot in Maryland and dove hunt, and I usually have good dove hunts down in Maryland. Pennsylvania, our pheasant hunting I caught the tail end of wild birds in Pennsylvania. And then now we're a put and take state through the Game Commission. They just started a couple of years ago a pheasant stamp. They listened to me. Actually, I had a meeting with them with a buddy of mine who was a game commissioner at the time, with some people from Pheasant Forever, and we sat down and we kind of talked about the idea of, since it's a put and take state, you can only usually shoot the roosters.
Okay.
So, and the hens were laying out there, they can't take them. So just like trout fishing, you just take whatever. So they finally, on state land, I think they made it statewide actually now instead of just state game land, you could take hens and rooster pheasant.
Okay.
So, and they do a real good job. So.
What? Sorry, am I hijacking a podcast?
No, do it, love. I was going to say I missed a really good opportunity for Beavis and Butthead, but go ahead.
What is the season for pheasant?
For pheasant, it usually starts the third Saturday in October, and it'll run to, actually, because they moved the Pennsylvania deer opener to the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So the pheasant season ends the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And then it picks back up right before Christmas and it goes to February. But they stop stocking at that point. So when you get into the later season, end of January, February, you're just taking your dog and your gun for a walk most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
That'd be cool.
No pheasant on PEI.
What is
Ruffed
it that...
grouse.
Okay.
Ruffed grouse.
grouse.
Good shooting, great eating. If you
Yes.
have never eaten a grouse, it's great eating.
Well, that show, we watched that one show called Alone. Have you seen that? Where they dump them out in the middle of the wilderness and they have to kind of survive. But that's what they kind of were talked about, how it's like chicken, right?
Yeah, it's really, really good eating.
And I don't want to correct you, but I think you have had grouse with Geoff.
I have.
Possibly. I'm going to say that I know he's brought some over, and I got to believe you ate it.
Well, our boxer is apparently a really good flusher.
Okay.
I don't know.
What are you flushing there?
The grouse.
No, those aren't. Those are.
I'm sorry.
They're either Huns or quail. I can't.
Oh, they're a little kind of grayish.
I think that
Slate quail. If they're,
I think that they're Hungarian. I think they're partridges.
Partridges.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what he said it was. Yeah.
Also good eating.
And they have little cubbies at Shaw's where we stay, and she goes out and walks around. It's kind of it's kind of has agricultural fields with some woods, but like she goes and they find them.
Yeah, the boxer that will bite you. He can find them. I don't know.
Good. I was hunting one time on a game land in Pennsylvania, and I see this German Shepherd coming through the fields, and we're out hunting. Yeah, and then I see the hunter come up, and I went, best hunting dog I ever owned.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Just finds and retrieves. Best hunting dog I ever owned.
I love seeing, the uncommon breeds out hunting,
Yeah.
like the pit bulls,
What's your VCA story?
Oh well, so Duke, he was supposedly a boxer, purebred. Came in. The owner had tried multiple things to, kind of control him. They had young kids. He had a trainer work with him. They neutered him because he was just becoming more and more aggressive, or protective, turn aggressive. And he came in to put him to sleep. He felt like he had tried everything. He didn't want to adopt the dog out because he was afraid of what might happen. Came in, I talked to the doctor. I said, he's 2. Please, I'll try and rehome him. Talked to the owner. He signed him over to the hospital and called Jeff. I said, there's this dog, and I know we don't need another one, and we had the one dog she was kind of in end stage cancer, so we didn't want to put her through any stress. And anyway, Jeff came by and met him at the hospital. Anyway, long story short, he came home with us. And
Okay, that's a great story, and I didn't want to interrupt you. But
Okay.
the story, because the mental telepathy isn't working clearly today, actually.
he does this to me.
Somebody had what did they have? What dog was it that he brought? Client brought a dog in that said he had it trained to retrieve geese.
Yes.
What was it?
A pit bull.
That's what I wanted
Yeah.
to say. That's
Yep. A pit bull. And it was a great big fatty pit bull too. So it had really good insulation for the cold weather. But yeah, I love seeing these unusual dogs out there. And I think any dog can be taught to do it.
Did you ever see the post gator, the duck dog? He's a Jack Russell Terrier.
Yes. Yep. I love that too.
Yes. I have seen him.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And he works his butt off.
Yeah, and they love it.
Yeah.
They love it. It's fun to watch.
All right. So we have talked. You said you've watched some of the videos of my sea duck hunting.
Yep.
Everybody always says, "Oh man, those guys suck and they're horrible and all these different things." First off, the boat is moving. So number one, that's something that it would be very difficult to reproduce. But the thing, so I am acknowledging that the boat moves, but I'm going to write that one off. The thing that I see is that you see them from 500 yards away, and here they come, and here they come, and here they come, and here they come, and somebody stands up and behind. Not just sitting there talking, eating, whatever we're doing, and a bird comes around the bow, and I call it the reaction shot. Dead.
That's exactly what it is.
Dead. And it's like sitting there
interesting.
watching them go. Like, well, yeah. And when I try to tell somebody that, as waterfowlers, that's what we do. Well, there's something to it, because I'm telling you, behind versus something just out of the blue, like shocks you, dead.
If they're watching them come in from 500 yards, and especially if they get into their gun at some point a little soon, they're in their gun or out of their gun, your brain is doing all kinds of math. All kinds of math, and you're thinking about it. I got to make this shot. Oh, it's moving. And it just fouls up the functionality. Whereas the reactionary shot, see bird, shoot bird. And our subconscious is the greatest computer in the world. So if you can get that feeling, like on a good day when I'm shooting sporting clays and quote unquote the zone, it's like you can hit anything. It's just like boom. The day I limited out in 20 minutes on a duff hunt. It was a 12 bird limit back then. The birds was the first time I hunted over actually a Mojo electronic duff, and the birds they were coming in. And I basically, bird, boom, boom. That kind of thing. When you see a bird coming in from any distance, and if you put that, as soon as you put that gun in front of your face, and the bird's not ready to be shot, your brain is going to start doing that math, and the shot's going to develop, and then it's going to overdevelop, and you're going to end up missing, probably behind.
Yeah, and even if so, again, the boat is moving, so even they're up and down. Like you can see the shot on the water. It's behind. So even if the boat moved, right? But there's my point is they're still behind. Behind.
I think the one thing that you had said, which I think most people can relate to, when you don't have landmarks, like when it's looking over the water, it's hard to tell distance.
That was I was actually going to mention that, and that's the big thing. There's no tree. There's nothing. You know what I mean?
And they're kind of, especially if it would be maybe their first glimpse of a Scoter, to me they're big. They are big.
Well, I mean, Well, and/or I always hang her from the stern, and I'm let them get here, and they're like 75 yards away, and somebody in the bow stands up, and man, they would have got like double that, and then somebody already shot it. But let's say they're over the decoys, so they are, in my definition, in range. They're still behind them, but again, like it's the kind of thing where like you sat there and you watched them. And again, people tell me, "Hey, we watch water. That's what we do. We watch the ducks, we watch the geese." I was like, "Well, I'm telling you, sitting on the ocean and you watch them forever come to you, like it's got to be that." Because again, you're sitting there not paying attention, and something whips around the corner, or off the bow or off the stern, boom, dead. Like, and it's not crippled, it's dead. Versus, man, like Karen, you just talked about wounding something there. It turns into a 10-minute boat ride to try to go get this bird.
Right. What do you set your decoys at that you consider in range?
So I would like to, my furthest outside decoy, I would hope that is not more than 30 yards.
Yeah.
The windier and rougher that it is, I can go out there with 2 lines of decoys and sit the boat on the decoys, and the birds don't care. The days that it's flat, I've told some people, like, as soon as we get out there, like, this is not going to be as advertised. We have no wind. So,
right.
I'm not telling you got to take the shot, but that's as close as that bird's going to get. It's not going to get any closer. So if you guys want to shoot at it, have at it, kind of thing, right? And the days that there's no wind, it is just it's tough. But the windier, obviously, there's the opposite is when it's too windy, it's rough and nasty. But the birds don't mind the boat at all when it's rocking and rolling.
Mm.
Yeah, 30 yards is plenty. I mean, you get a lot of guys with 3.5 inch.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. What's your thoughts? I'll tell you what I always tell everybody. But what's your thoughts on shot size
For waterfowl?
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of 2s and 3s.
Okay.
Yeah. If I'm hunting geese, Canadas, dark geese, I'll shoot 2s, pretty much, and I shoot 3-inch, especially with the improvements in ballistic and performances. I'll shoot 2s. I've shot ducks with 4s. A lot of this tungsten ammo is expensive. It's a little bit tough to waste a lot of it, but you hope your shooting's on when you're shooting that stuff. But it really, really wallops birds, and it's worth the money if you're if you're having a decent day shooting. And you could shoot 4s, 5s. I like that blend. That
yep, BBs and 2s, 4s and 6s.
Yep. Yeah.
So the Molly's exclusive federal.
Yeah.
They called it the sea duck load, and we just say, "Hey man, it's a good waterfowl load." But back in the day, my mentor, a very good friend, Donald Hughes, which I've talked about before quite often, he said it didn't matter. But he's like, and this was me being young, I'd buy a box of this, a box of that, whatever. He's like, go buy a case and shoot. That's what you need to figure out. Don't mess around with all these different, whatever the brand is, whatever the shot size is, it doesn't matter. Go buy a case of something, and that's what you need to shoot every time. And you need to adjust how you shoot to that.
Right.
He said, don't, because I'd have a box of Remington somethings and then Winchester somethings and whatever. And we'd be sitting there, and he's like, man, just buy a case of whatever you want to buy. Expensive, inexpensive, it doesn't matter, but learn to shoot that. And again, through your gun, how you shoot through your gun, but that's what you need to shoot.
Your primary gun. Say, I'm a big fan. I like shotguns.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably my biggest weakness is, and I gravitate more and more towards over and unders. I shoot on over and under for sporting clays, so I kind of just gravitate. I still have my semi-automatics. I take them out. I shoot a semi-automatic most of the time for waterfowl. I do have a Browning over and under camo waterfowl edition that I've had for years. But not only the gun, but the choke, especially since the big impact we have of your removable chokes and choke selection. So what I tell people, and the same thing with sporting clays. People ask me all the time. I had one guy said to me, "What are you going to shoot at this target presentation?" And I was relatively new to the sport, and I'm like, "What do you mean I'm going to shoot?" He goes, "Well, this target here," he says, "I'm thinking about shooting a number 8 shot with an improved cylinder choke over here, and then at second shot, I'm going to go to like a modified choke with 7.5." I went, "This is a fixed choke gun, and I have 7.5 shot."
That's what I'm shooting.
That's what I'm shooting. So, and I see people with choke changers. I see people all the time. And granted, there's a time and a place to change your choke. I'm not a big fan of it. I put 2 chokes in my over and under my sporting clay gun, and I just let it ride. And if it costs me a target here or there, I'm not shooting for a world championship. You know what I mean? But if you have a 60-yard crosser, I would say go to an improved modified or something like that. If you have a 10-yard rabbit that's screaming by you, I would say put a skeet choke in, and use a 8 or 9 shot for the 10-yard rabbit, where you're going to use a 7.5 shot. It's the biggest we can go shot-wise in sporting clays for that 60-yarder, that kind of thing. Just know your gun. If you and I think you did a video, guys, one time when you were setting up your gun, we were patterning her shotgun. Yeah.
Yep.
So pattern her gun, and I tell people, my hunting clients, if you can, again, safe gun handling, safe location to shoot. Know your backstop, what's beyond it, everything. Shoot with what you're going to wear, and because in September when we're dove hunting, or if you're down in Texas shooting teal, you're going to be in a camo T-shirt. You know what I mean? But now you come January, or however your latest season goes on the boat, what are you going to be wearing? So now it's a completely different feel of the gun, that kind of thing. So you have to take advantage. You have to, for your fun's sake and more outcome, as well as the animal's sake. You want to be, tuned in as you're going to go, like you're going hunting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So back to the shot size, like that's the biggest. Well, yeah, it's got to be up there. If it's not the biggest question, it's got to be up there pretty high. Like, what shot should I? Hey, I've never shot sea ducks. What should I bring? Hey, I like smaller size shot versus larger size shot. But like, I don't want you bringing something small and they cuss me, right? Oh, Jeff said to shoot this, that, or the other. But I said you should shoot what you feel comfortable shooting. But my line is that if it's a $10 shell or a 10-cent shell, if you're 2 feet behind, you're 2 feet behind. So it doesn't really matter what you're shooting.
Right.
Again, it's more about that. It's about the lead, and it doesn't really matter. Again, it could be the cheapest shell in the market, the most expensive shell. If you're behind them, you're behind them. It's not, the shell's not going to help you with that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Very good. I'm going to switch gears. What else would you like to say about shotguns, sporting clays?
The biggest thing with sporting clays, and the biggest growth numbers in the sport right now are with lady shooters, women shooters.
Okay.
The other big thing with sporting clays, it's a great game for everybody. It's kids. I've had clients as young as 9 years old, and I've had clients in their 70s. So it's just a great family outing. It's safe. As safe gun handling is paramount, but the sport itself is safe. There's plenty of rules out there. Some courses have roving range officers to make sure if you have any questions you don't know, and they always tell you in the sporting clays community, if you see somebody messing up, say something.
Sure.
Don't be afraid to speak up, because sooner or later it's going to end up in an accident.
Yeah.
I was on a course one time and I heard this boom, and it's just real loud. I'm like, and then I looked down and there's somebody shooting a high brass number 4 shot on a sporting clay course, and just as of course I'm familiar with, and I know the range officers. Well, one of them comes flying towards me, and I'm standing there with this hunting load, and I said, "You looking for him? Where is he?" I said, "He's whoever it is right in front of me, because I just picked this up."
Wow.
So another story. I was at a pheasant club. And they give you a talk. It's the first time I'm looking at the owner. He says, I had a group of sports teams in from Philadelphia. That's what he told me. That's all he told me. He said, and I asked everybody before we hit the fields, they had set up this hunt. So they had hired the guide and the dogs, the whole 9 yards. He says, everybody have number 6 shot, number 7.5. They were hunting like chucker, partridge, and pheasant. And one guy says, well, I'm not exactly sure what I have, but I have shotgun ammo. So she said, it was actually a woman guide. She said, let me see what you have. He had slugs. He had shotgun slugs that he was going to load into his gun and take out in the field. So, yeah. So,
much like the snakeheads, Karen's after this, she's going to say, where can we go? Where would you say for Karen to go for the first time to experience her best experience with sporting clays? Where should she go?
Sporting clays?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Schrader's.
Okay.
Right down here on the Eastern Shore. Hopkins. Hopkins is a great course, very challenging, challenging. But there's something there that you could find that you would, can break consistently. You know what I mean?
You know where Schrader's is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's in the Molly zip code.
Okay.
Yeah. So, guys, if I'm available, let me know. I'll come down.
All right. Yeah, I'm
because
going to
this
take
was
you up
going
on
to be.
that.
She's going to be like, I want to go do this now.
Well, especially
Should she shoot 12 gauge or 20 gauge?
I would recommend. What do you hunt with?
The 20. I much prefer the 20.
Then shoot a 20 gauge. I shot.
Well, the 28.
28?
Well, we have a 20. Have you shot the 28?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
Yes, you did. Yes,
It was very nice. Yeah.
I shot last week, one of the clubs in Pennsylvania changed owners. They had the new owners, super nice guy, super nice family actually, had their grand reopening under the new name, new ownership. So I went up, met a friend of mine, and I bought my 28 gauge. And I'm a big fan of 16 gauge.
Okay.
So I bought, and I have a 16 gauge sporting clays gun. So I shot one round with my 28 gauge, and then we took a break, had lunch, and went back out. I had the 16 gauge. My buddy had his. We both shot 28 gauge to begin with, and then the second round, I had my 16, and he had a 20.
Okay.
And his dad shot with us the first round. He had a 12, and his dad beat us both. But he had a 12 gauge. There were some hard targets there.
Yeah, I was surprised actually the 28 it wasn't, I call it smooth as the 20. I actually prefer the 20, but the 28 is just nice lightweight,
Yeah,
it's not heavy.
What gun is the 28?
Benelli.
The Super Black Eagle 3s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just bought the Benelli Ethos Sport in 28 gauge.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what I have. Nice light gun. So I call it a one-hander.
Yeah, it is
You
easy.
carry that all day if you were hunting, anything. But if you were like upland hunting and walking after quail or something like that, you carry that all day.
Easy, yeah. Nice. Yeah, no, we will have to find some time, right? Especially before we go to Canada, I would like to.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, have some practice time.
If you have one of the guns here, I'd be glad to look at you just to see your mount and see how it fits.
She said, should we get a gun out? I was like, no, Karen.
You can do it inside. I don't know the neighbors. I don't. But we won't fire any shots. But I can look at you and your
We have
gun.
our resident police officer across the
Mark
road.
across the street. He always has his SIG on his side when we see him. So.
He has his own range back there.
There may be a few
nice.
loaded handguns right here, close anyway, right? Karen's.
Yeah, we both have our
Closer than you
license.
think.
Yep.
Yeah. Both have our licenses.
Yeah.
All right. Can I switch gears?
Go.
I want to talk about Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to go back to the whole Route 95 thing. I spent my weekends in Woodland, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Jefferson Avenue. Elementary school and like middle school. We were there every weekend. I called him uncle. It was my mother's great aunt and uncle. Uncle was from Smith Island. He was a Bradshaw Smith Island. As a youngster, it freaked me out that his birthday, it was 1899.
Wow.
And Auntie was from Darlington,
That's
Maryland, but
crazy.
she was born in 1900. So,
Wow.
and tribute to Auntie, I will say that Viola Bradshaw, I'll say that probably in her lifetime, it's got to be the biggest amount of technology. She was born when they didn't have electricity, and when she passed away, there's the World Wide Web. Like, she saw like from the Great Depression to on and on and on. And they worked at Eddystone Print in Woodland there. So, that said, we want to know what we have never. We've never. I have not. I don't think you have either.
What's that?
The best Philly cheesesteak.
Okay. There's the tourist cheesesteaks.
This is what we want to know.
Which you'll hear Pat's and Gino's every time there's a major sporting event in the
What's
city.
the one that's in the middle?
Passyunk Avenue. So Passyunk Avenue.
Yes.
And then on one side of Passyunk is Pat's, the originator of the cheesesteak. And then right across the other side is Gino's. That's basically the area I grew up in.
Okay.
It's within walking distance. I grew up in what's called Bella Vista, beautiful view, but it's a very easy walk from the area I grew up in. Spent a lot of time there. I grew up a block or two away from 9th Street, where if you saw the Rocky movie, he's jogging down and they throw the apple or tomato at him, whatever it is.
Yep.
So, funny story, when I was in the police academy, I had to start jogging, and I still lived in that area. So I developed like a 10-mile routine, and I would finish it coming down 9th Street, except they were throwing rotten fruit at me when I was coming down the street. And I knew a lot of the guys, and it was like, "Hey, Rocky!" and they're throwing crap at me. And I'm just like, "All right, Steve," and another Stevie. "All right, Steve," you have to do that kind of stuff.
That's mean.
Yeah, but so there's a lot of smaller shops, not as well known.
Yep.
But they have fantastic cheesesteaks. There's one, I don't know the owner. Can I throw him a plug?
Yeah, please.
But it's
please.
called Angelo's. It's right on the corner of 9th and Fitzwater. It's basically really in the old neighborhood, right down the street from a great bread bakery, Sarcone's. Actually, I think they're part of the same family. His cheesesteaks are phenomenal.
Really?
There's a couple in my neighborhood, like down on, I'm south now, most near the ballparks, that are really good cheesesteaks. Just really good cheesesteaks. There's There's one called City Pizza. Has a great cheesesteak. Surprisingly, it's a pizza place, but the cheesesteaks are fantastic. Another place called Steak 'em Up. Yeah, so that kind of goes hand in hand.
Is Cheese Whiz? No. Okay. I've read a lot of stuff, and I was like, man, it didn't make sense to me, but I was like, I've read it. Man, Cheese Whiz, that's like one of the key ingredients to a true Philly cheesesteak.
It's just, it is the signature, but I'm shaking my head because I'm not a American,
right?
Provolone.
Now, white American or yellow American?
You're only going to get white American.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's a little side story. I had two brothers who always come down from Philly, and they talked about Wawa. They got subs at Wawa, and I guess I can say it.
What?
They called it welfare cheese.
Welfare cheese.
The yellow cheese
Makes great.
That's not American. American is white cheese. That's welfare cheese.
Huh.
And welfare cheese makes great grilled cheese sandwiches.
Okay. Yeah. That's what
there you go.
That's what they would call it. It's welfare cheese.
Yeah, I don't know. In Australia, there is no cheese that's yellow like that.
Yeah.
You just would not find that cheese in Australia.
Yeah.
So it's welfare cheese in Australia too?
No.
Now that I'm comfortable saying welfare cheese?
You don't get processed cheese. You would get Kraft singles. That's what you would have.
Is that yellow or white?
It wasn't the bright yellow that it is here. And we just talked about the color yellow 5 and 6, and how carcinogenic it is.
So I shouldn't be drinking my Diet Dew?
Yeah, no, you shouldn't.
Do.
It won't stop us.
But actually, to go back to the cheesesteak.
Yeah, do
thing,
it, please. Cause
the best cheesesteak that I like.
Yes.
Not to tap myself on the back. Is my cheesesteak.
There you go.
So before I got in the police department, I spent 12 years in the restaurant business. The majority of it as a cook.
Okay.
So not classically trained, but I know my way around a kitchen.
Now I'm nervous about cooking for him.
What is your key to your best Philly cheesesteak?
Good steak, good bread, and a little butter on your cheesesteak before you melt the cheese on it.
Mm.
Okay. Is a steak-'em true steak?
No.
Why did you answer not yours?
No, there is.
Have I eaten steakums and turned them into a cheesesteak? Yes. Would I prefer that over a nice piece of chipped beef? No.
Okay, all right.
Oh, Jeff and his junk food, man.
What's my favorite?
Oh, come on.
What?
I don't know.
Way
Gosh, you
back
got
in the
so
day.
many.
Come on, wait. If I would say it was a bachelor night.
Okay.
Bachelor weekend, what am I going to do?
You're going to do steakums and potato tots.
Tater tots. Yo. All right. It's my bachelor weekend.
Yeah, we had bachelor weekend, and I got to enjoy it with you at some point recently.
She says steakum's not real. You say it's not even real meat.
I don't think it is. It's so processed.
Yeah, it's just a processed meat-like substance.
And it came from a cow, though, right?
Somewhere.
It's kind of like dog food.
Like hot dog.
Yeah.
Like a hot dog?
I guess.
Like a sausage?
Yeah.
All right, so we can all say that then.
All right.
Evidently,
Scrapple.
Yeah, there you go. Steakum is real meat. How about this? It's like McDonald's. It's pure beef. Not 100% real beef. 100% pure beef.
Yeah. I think I ate scrapple, and then I made the mistake of reading the ingredients.
And you didn't like it?
No. Haven't had it since.
One of my favorite breakfast, anytime food, scrapple.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen, you mentioned the stadiums. I've never been to any of the new stadiums. I've been to the Spectrum twice.
Missed the Spectrum. It was a great place.
Oh, I had really good memories of watching Hulk Hogan in the Spectrum. Yep, against the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, just passed away.
Yes, sadly. And then I saw a Sixers game against the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
But I've never been to a Phillies game. I think I was invited to go to a Phillies game. Never went to the old stadium.
Yeah.
But never been to the new stuff. So, what are you? You're an Eagle, a Broad Street Bully, a Philly.
More of a Flyers guy.
Broad Street
Bully.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Geoff on PEI. Did you hear that? Geoff's a big Bruins fan.
Bruins fans. In my world, my professional world, not my shooting professional world. So, I don't get to enjoy a lot of hot runs when they're on playoff streaks and stuff like that, because they're usually, if I'm not working it, and like this year on the Super Bowl, I was watching the Super Bowl and waiting for my phone to ring because I was going to have to gather my uniform. Right now I'm in an investigatory position, so I wear a suit and tie, shirt and tie to work. But I have to maintain a uniform because I'm a supervisor. So I'm just like, oh, here we go. And then like last season with the Phillies went on, and I'm like, okay, yeah. So I have 3 years left on the job.
That's awesome, man.
So if they could just hold off winning another championship until I'm done, and here's the biggest problem, and I chose to live there. There's no way for me to get home or in and out of my house because the parade goes right down Broad Street in front of my house.
Oh, gosh.
So great for seeing all the events and stuff like that, and if you wanted to walk to the stadiums, you could. I've walked to different concerts and stuff like the Eagles practice field. I walk by the Eagles practice field a couple times a week when I'm walking my dogs.
Okay.
So
very cool.
Yeah. So it's a neat location to live in. What I really like about it, like I said when we first started, is that I'm hardly in the city on my days off. I'm a mile from. I'm literally a block and a half from the entrance to the Walt Whitman Bridge to take me to Jersey. Right around the corner from the entrance to 76 West to take me out of the city and go upstate Pennsylvania, and a mile from 95 north and south either way. So not a giant house, but it's a very well lived in house.
There
as
you go.
and I.
That's what you said. 100%. The south Broad Street area is very well developed in these days. Right? Yep. Do you remember like the late 80s into the 90s? Was it pretty desolate, would you say?
South Broad, it all depends on exactly. I live where my house is. There's a block of houses, and then it's the last row of homes until you get into. There's a credit union, police and fire credit union, a Social Security building, and then the houses back there. They're relatively new. They would be the late 80s, 90s. So that area was. And then when you go further down, it's we call it the Lakes. Franklin Delano FDR Park, Franklin Delano Roosevelt Park, which is my son went for a walk down there this morning. He's sending me videos. There's a whole flock of mallards on the bank, and he's like, "Look at all these ducks down here." And we have deer down there. We have fox. We have ducks, woodcock. Oh, they all come through there.
So maybe my names have been fogged from the years, but in the mid to late 80s, I thought that there was a heavy street drag racing scene in South Philadelphia.
1100 Patterson. Sure.
Patterson, not on Broad Street.
Not on Broad, but right off of Broad.
Okay.
So 1100 Patterson.
That's where I was going with this.
Yes. Yeah.
Was that your childhood years?
No, not
street
childhood.
racing.
No, but that was like I was in the car. I never went there, but I always heard about these like South Philly street races.
And Southwest Philly, which is real close, right over the bridge, like 65th Street. There was a big drag racing issue back then. 1100 Patterson, 1100, not so much Packer, but down through there. And then, of course, you had Front Street, right?
Front Street, maybe Front. So Front Street, like where the new Eagle State, like 95 turned, right?
Right.
It was Front Street.
That's pretty much. It takes you down to 11th, but it's just so open down there. You go from 11th to like Front or Third, like that, and there was drag racing all through there. I had a real good friend of mine, one of my closest childhood friend growing up. He was into muscle cars, and we may or may not have spent a night or two zipping around there.
So Cecil County Dragway, halfway close to Philly, that there was guys that would come down from wherever they did race and race at the track, and then where I told you 95 ended at Eastern Avenue on 95, like kind of northbound, and they would drag because there was literally nobody there.
Right.
But yeah, so anyway, I'm kind of got off the topic there a little bit, but Steven, claysandwings.com.
But it's the letter N.
Spell it out, please.
It's CLAYS, the letter N, as in Nathan, wings, WINGS. And yes, every now and then I do get a phone call asking me how I sell my wings. Are they hot? Are they
Really?
So it's claysandwings.com.
Claysandwings.com, and on social media, where can everyone find you?
I'm on Instagram right now under the same thing, Clays and Wings.
Clays, the letter N.
Wings. Yep,
right.
yep.
Last words to you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me down. Thank you. Thank you for taking me for a tour for the home of Pitboss World Headquarters.
Yeah, she's a little lived. Well, you said lived in. It's not lived in yet.
No, it's just disorganized.
It's disorganized. Yeah.
That's getting there though. It's a work in progress, and it's going to be fantastic. I was just going to say it's awesome. It's awesome.
Thank you. You're more than welcome to come back anytime you like. We are going to have an open house and a Waterfowler's sidewalk sale, love?
Yeah, because Jeff has stuff.
Stuff.
We all have stuff.
Yeah,
I
he
have
has
more
lots
stuff that I could sell as far as, I don't know how many sets of choke tubes from different manufacturers, more for sporting clays that I have sitting. I really should sell. You talked about like buy stuff and try, I went through that whole phase. I'm going to buy this brand choke. I'm going to buy this brand choke. They're going to buy. Just make up your mind and settle on something that you're confident with and that works for you.
Well, maybe we could make it's the sidewalk sale, but have people who want to do like
I kind of thought about that.
Yeah, that would
Vendors
be.
have been-
Yeah, so you could have your tailgate kind of store going on.
My biggest, let's say negative thing, but the obstacle. My biggest thought in that could be negative is like parking, not for just parking in general. That's
for sure.
Actually, I thought of Noah and Michael Hickman this morning about doing like cooking on Whaleyville there, and like is it safe for people to pull off the road?
No.
So that's where I'm going with it.
It's a mini speedway out here. Yeah.
All right.
But we'll have to talk about that because that could bring you down, and maybe you could bring like-minded people around who are looking for stuff.
Yeah.
Somehow, I don't know exactly. Is it conscious or subconscious?
For what?
Well, I think we're about to fire the grill up.
Yes.
And it seems to be, at least with Big Bird, and we're like, anybody that comes here in person, it turns into like a little bit of a cookout social type thing. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to fire the grill up. I'll let you figure out what you want to throw on. I know what I want to put on there just for shits and giggles.
Okay.
But you can do your
chicken burgers.
Yeah, chicken thighs. Mm-hmm. With what on them?
Old Bay.
Old Bay, there we go.
They're good.
Sounds good.
Steven, Biello.
Got it.
I was slow to Biello. Biello. Stephen Biello. Thank you. Clays and Wings with the letter N. We appreciate it. This is another episode of the Pitboss Podcast. Love, thank you for sitting in with us. I do appreciate that too. This is brought to you by Molly's Place Sporting Goods, easily found on Route 213 in Kennedyville, Maryland, where you can fuel your adventure at mymollys.com. Maybe I shouldn't say it, but I have wind that the new there's a new URL. It's not My Molly's, it is Molly's. MOLLYS.com is coming soon. So
really?
Yep.
How'd they get that one?
I can't tell you where I know that from, but I know that to be a fact.
Very cool.
Or at least I was told it's a fact. So Molly's Place Sporting Goods, Crabs to Go, Duck Blind Bistro, Dirty Duck Coffee, and Duck Water Boats. Please, everyone, even if you're not going to buy any of their products, please go check them out. We appreciate it. We appreciate their support, and we appreciate you listening to us. So, listening to us, I will slow down. Anything you want to say, love?
No, just thanks to Steve for coming all the way down.
No problem. You're welcome anytime.
It was very interesting.
A busy summer Saturday afternoon. So, we're going to fire the grill up. As always, love you.
Let's go, Steve.
Here, wait, I'll do it again. As always.
Thinking of you, we are.
Boom.
That's what I thought you were looking for.
Happy Saturday.